Okay. Oh. Mama said if he can't say nothing nice. Tonight, P. Diddy did it. Now, what does he do? In today's congressional hearing, we have on the docket the heinous acts of our president, whose information of his interview was not immediately released. But first, what's with that wig you got on? Woman brings her gun to daughter's job. What could go wrong? Racism, racism, racism? I must have Georgia on my mind. See these stories and more of what we're talking about on this week's episode of The Blackman Show. Welcome to the BS. Now let's go. What is good? What is good? Ladies and gentlemen, I am Seven Blackman, and this is The Blackman Show, a place where we can dissect the news with a little bit of 7 cents, sponsored by the good people at theblackmanshow.com. So make sure you smash that like button like it's your high school crush before she became a bleached blonde, big back, bad body behemoth. Either way, let's get it. Okay, can we talk for a second about this latest uproar in our government between some ladies getting clickbait catty in Congress? What I'm talking about is the grifting showdown between congresswoman from Georgia, Marjorie Taylor-Greene, woman who was obviously the inspiration for the infamous Michael Myers mask, and who, on this show, will always be referred to as the meeting. And Congresswoman from Dallas, Texas, Jasmine, which hair shall I wear, Crockett, who both apparently wanted to spend our hard-earned tax dollars taking time to send jabs at one another based on each other's appearances.
I don't think you know what you're here for.
Well, you the one talking about.
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No, ain't nothing.
Hold on.
Listen.
Order.
Hey, I am not apologizing.
Now let's go. Come on, guys. Ms. Crockett.
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
Chairman.
Now, look, in my opinion, you both look awful. Look, let's just make that clear. And I don't mean aesthetically. I couldn't care less about how either one of you look. But when you purport yourself as a symbol of the American people, well, is this really what you're trying to represent? I mean, look, and I get it. I know I've been a victim of getting deep into wrestling with somebody who pulled me down to the point that my point gets lost in the mud. But I'm just a black man on YouTube. You are the people of Congress, voted in to represent the U.S. as a nation, helping form its narrative. Is this the narrative that we want? I mean, we got a congresswoman talking about eyelashes and another one talking about bad bodies. And while I guess they're not too far away from our forefather congressmen who have been shot, caned, stabbed, and killed by other congressmen, some of us hope, that there would be more civility in our government than less. Bonus if any of you can name any of those congressmen who were the victims of the aforementioned crimes. And I suppose I'd be more in Jasmine's corner because, it seemed her actions were all retaliatory, and right is right. Same time, I can't sit here and act like she's without fault here. I mean, she chose to snap back however she decided, and you can make of that what you will. But the issue comes when you realize she's now started a fund called the Crockett Clapback Collection, which, quote, will feature various swag that includes random things that she said, end quote, in order to make sure that we have a Democrat in Congress. One can only hope that those funds are going to her campaign. And I have to be honest, I think sis is taking things a bit far when she's calling these attacks racist, though. In my opinion, I mean, I think this is just one woman getting catty with another woman. Nothing about her poor choice of exaggerated cumbrellas, which I guess is the PH name of them, says black. I know the notorious MTG was bad for saying something, but I mean, it's not like you always got to look together without the seam showing yourself, boo. So while I would say old Mike Myers' face shouldn't have said it, at least that's her face. Then there's the meeting, who posted her video of her dating profile to apparently show how she gets the boys to come to the yard. And all of this has overshadowed the reason they were there in the first place, to consider a motion to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress for not releasing the audio recording of President Joe Biden's interview with special counsel Robert Hur, who led the investigation into Biden's handling of classified documents. That's what we're here for. So basically, Biden withheld some government documents as VP, which he eventually returned. He since has had an interview about him withholding classified documents, and that audio was recorded. Attorney General Merrick Garland had access to these recordings as part of the DOJ, but was reluctant to release them because the White House was afraid Republicans would potentially use snippets and sound bites to besmirch the president's good name. And because of this reluctancy, the hearing was taking place. But we can't get to the bottom of all that because of this meeting of the Judiciary and Oversight Committees had to be cleared. And I mean, you gotta love when congressional progress has to be held up for an argument about waist trainers. And yeah, I see that you're wearing one, Ezekiel. Don't think that we didn't notice. Okay, so the next story that we've got up revolves around this picture of the Georgia Department of Correction officers. Okay? Take it in. Take a little inventory of whatever thoughts enter your sweet little minds. You know, a picture being worth thousands of words and all. What's your first thought? Even some of my big people out there. Your thoughts, please. Okay, now, here's one comment that someone decided to share. Damn, they must serve some good biscuits and gravy at the Georgia Department of Corrections. And to that, I have to say, oh, okay. Mama said if you can't say nothing nice. I mean, come on. Look, bruh. And I think we can all get a joke and understand that there is some rotundity going around. And maybe this person just wonders of one's fitness to do the job that they signed up for. But because this was stated by a white officer, a Sergeant Michael Burhill of Westchester County Corrections in New York, well, now it's news because somebody called it racist. And while I don't think this is exactly the space for it, I'm thinking at some point I'm gonna have to put on a quick clinic for you kids so you know what is and what isn't racist. Now, this isn't racist. Unprofessional, effed up, and a damn good joke? Hell yeah. but definitely not racist, even though a white dude said it. All he said was they got some good biscuits and gravy in Georgia. That's all he said, because he sees what he sees. What would you say? But with this news, you know his office at least got ahead of the issue by issuing a statement about taking immediate steps and the humming about how they don't stand for stuff like that. You know how it always comes out. But no word from the Georgia Department of Corrections on the matter. One may imagine that they could have been too exhausted to return the mess. Let's move on. Then we've got Jeff Criswell, Rick and Morty extra and Ted Danson lookalike. And no, that is not a compliment. This man wants to be the next Georgia congressman from their 6th district. Now that shouldn't be too hard of a task. Wait. What's that you say? I'm receiving word that there may be a bit of an issue when it comes to our dear candidate. It seems this white man has a bit of an obstacle, if you want to call it that. You see, the man is running for Congress in a district that's majority black. And that's not like black people are automatically racist. I mean, how the hell you think Biden won?
You have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
And I get that Biden was the author of the 1994 crime bill that still has people locked up in its midst, and people voted for him despite that, or maybe because of that in some instances. I don't know. But I don't think your boy Jeff is going to be as successful. You see, in Jeff's wake is a hard tale of a white man trapped in a white man's world, trying to make sense of the black people he vilifies, denigrates, and ultimately blames for the racism in America as he tries to get his once white, now majority black because of congressional district maps being redrawn, district to vote for him. His past is coming to bite him in the BBL. Shout out to Drizzy. But in Jeff's past, tweets include such witty quips as, quote, perhaps black kids are force-fed so much anti-white rhetoric that white people become the enemy? Gotta be a better way. Trump 2024? You betcha. Can do Criswell. And showing that he's in line with the current times, you see him seeking his own piece of the victimization Olympics when he says, although CRT was not taught here, some students arbitrarily brought up one-sided race discussions, creating an awkward air of hostility and tension. Note to self, racism works both ways. That's not to mention the times that he tweeted about black maniacs destroying schools, beating teachers in the classroom who are out of control due to no dads. Now, all of these tweets coming as a result of the retired baseball salesman spending time at the tender age of 63 to begin teaching in Georgia's Gwinnett County and driving for a rideshare service. Man, so you mean to tell me he's never heard of any white kid ever doing anything bad at a school? Well, Jeff, allow me to help you out.
Red Lake, Minnesota would never quite be the same after the events that occurred at the senior high school on March 21st, 2005. 16-year-old Jeffrey Wise killed his grandmother and girlfriend that morning, then robbed his grandfather of police weapons and a bulletproof vest before driving to the Red Lake Senior High School, where he killed 7 people and injured another 5. Wise took a total of 10 lives that day, including his own. He committed suicide in a classroom after exchanging fire with police.
One can only imagine why people may take umbrage at a man looking to represent them who seems to have such a disdain for them and their message. I mean, you gotta love those self-assured types of people looking to run for Congress, swearing they know enough about your story that they don't even want to hear you tell it. Yet every time they speak it, they get it wrong. I mean, it's not like we've seen that anywhere else before.
The white liberal differs from the white conservative only in one way. The liberal is more deceitful, more hypocritical than the conservative. Both want power, but the white liberal is the one who has perfected the art of posing as the Negro's friend and benefactor. And by winning the friendship and support of the Negro, the white liberal is able to use the Negro as a pawn or a weapon in this political football game that is constantly raging between the white liberals and the white conservatives.
Now that I think of it, if you're gonna do all of that, Jeff, you probably should be in the other party. Those are the people who love to act like they know what's going on over here. Well, at least enough to get our vote. Seriously, Jeff, you're getting the cart before the horse, though, man. You got to get into Congress and then you let the crazy out. See, you're doing it all wrong. Have you learned nothing from MTG? Now, while I doubt Jeff will have a rat's chance in hell, stranger things have happened. What do you all think should be Jeff's path to victory, given his previous tweets, that is? Personally, I bet old Jeff's way to fix that is pretty simple. You know, just keep black people from knowing how to read. That should fix it. And then we've got in Covington, Georgia, the Frio rolled ice cream shop owned by Alicia Sanders had the misfortune of firing a young lady with a gun-toting Karen for a mom.
Wet signature, piece of paper. All it takes is your signature on a pen, with a pen.
Okay, we'll get it signed into the teacher and review. We will. We always do, and we will.
I don't trust you. When you can't even face my daughter and fire her in person. Right, you couldn't even face her. You didn't have balls to face her and tell her you were firing her because you were chicken shit. Couldn't admit that you were wrong and that you wanted to be a passive aggressive bitch and you wanted to bully an 18-year-old sweet girl.
She's very sweet.
Yes. But you didn't have balls to admit that you were wrong. Did you ask her about Wednesday, scheduled her for Tuesday, when Tuesday was never a discussion because she's never been able to work on Tuesdays. You assumed that you could just schedule her whenever because she was on spring break.
No.
So we've got a young lady who herself, or with the help of a gun-toting mother, and that has to be emphasized, but the young lady was sending threatening texts to her boss, Alicia. Now, I don't know about you, but it's kind of hard for any boss, let alone one of a specified race, to keep employed someone who obviously doesn't want to be there. So in the midst of the intense text exchange, the daughter is fired. Days later, gun-toting Karen of a mama, Deborah Johnson, brings herself into the ice cream shop, screaming obscenities and almost looking as if she wants to be starting something by the way she kept her hand on a holster and kept inching forward. Unfortunately, even with the virality of the video, the obvious threats from Mrs. Johnson, the continued threats that she and her family clan aimed at Alicia, the cyberbullying, and other levels of harassment, Alicia was not able to get justice in her May 8th court hearing due to a lack of evidence to officially charge them with trespassing or disorderly conduct. The Johnson clan is mad that there's video out now that shows the world exactly who his family is, but Alicia Sanders is upset about the outcome of the court procedure, which she believes would have been different had she hired legal representation. Now, one bit of solace one can take from this is the fact that old gun-toting Deb, well, she got fired too. Seems after the video hit the streams, her job could blatantly see what a courtroom could not. This woman was obviously looking to intimidate Alicia. Amazing. Maybe that boss should think of becoming a judge someday. As for my take on this, I'll just say what I've been saying for quite a few weeks. It seems like now. It seems like a recurring theme. We promote and vilify the ones that we like and don't, respectively. That's basically the gist of it, right? I mean, there are tons of instances that we can look at where harassment doesn't even get to the heights of what Alicia witnessed, and there are already fines and penalties in place. Now, I'm not trying to say it's the same thing, but you know what I'm talking about. I mean, we got Drumpf, and y'all know I ain't a Drumpf fan, but we got Drumpf getting charged for crimes from 20 plus years ago based on hearsay. There's no evidence, there's no video, none of that. Everything's all based on somebody's memory, however good that may be. But Alicia here can't get justice, and this is on film, in 4K, HD, and there's not enough evidence? Got it. What is justice anyway? At this point, I'm sorry, I'm kind of questioning things. Like, is it something for everyone, or is it something that always has you looking around and saying, is it just us? And that leads to our main story of the night, and that is P-Diddy. Bad boy with the honorary degree from Howard University, whose actual talent in hip-hop is about as real as that degree. P-Diddy, you've heard about the man and his bad boy saga. As a matter of fact, you may have heard about it here on the show. Link here and in the description. But your boy Diddy has recently added a new chapter to the book of what it means to be a bad boy for life. Now, we've already learned that you must take the masters of the works of the people who you hired in order to earn royalties on their work for the rest of their lives, to create faux music supergroups that are nothing more than a drama-filled session from which very little world moving would actually come. We've learned how to treat a lady. And lastly, we've learned how to potentially have our best artists killed. But what we have now from the diddler is a revelation that seems to put him into a whole new realm. I mean, we've got Cassie's case, which we've kind of already talked about, where she comes forward with a huge case after being separated from him for so many years, although there is already the question of the fact that she was in this relationship with him 14 years, where she kept going back and forth with him. And even though he was doing the things that he was doing to her, again, she kept coming back to him. To me, that kind of explains or shows what happens when people have power and money around you, and what you will do to have access to it. That's, to me, that's just what that says, and that's however it goes. And that, to me, is the same in abuse, situations of abuse where someone isn't famous as well as when somebody is, because they still have some level of power that to some degree is either respected or at least feared. So Cassie's case comes out, other people come out of the woodwork and all of that stuff, and then you have a statement from Diddy's lawyer finally saying something to the effect of, and I'll put it up on the screen for y'all, but something to the effect of People have been trying to accuse me all my life. I had to fight. And y'all just trying to come up and get some money off of me, and that ain't right. And I ain't never did none of this stuff. Y'all know I'm better than that. I don't even do this stuff. So all that comes out. That's the mouth service, the lip service that comes out. And then next thing you know, Diddy settles. So if you ain't do the stuff, then what you settling for? You see what I'm saying? So that already started the ball rolling in the wrong direction. Because I ain't gonna lie, if I'm being falsely accused of something that heinous, something that horrendous, trust me, I'm fighting that. I'm fighting that. I'm Johnny Depp with this. Quit playing. That's what you charged me with? Where's the courtroom? Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like the Muppets do. They just, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's go. I'm on it. What are you talking about? So, like I said, so he settles the next day. Then we've already had the saga of the SWAT teams coming to his home and taking whatever they took from his home, cameras, maybe other footage, supposedly it being for the purpose of getting more background information on him to see what exactly he does have, what he doesn't have, all this stuff. Sons was temporarily accosted, but weren't charged with anything, so they were released. You know, but still, none of that looks good for the man. And now we're to the point where we've got new footage that CNN recently released where they're showing what he did to Cassie, where it shows what he was doing with the young lady. So it's already an unknown, I guess, that Diddy would rent out the entire floor of a hotel so that way he can do whatever he's gonna do under the privacy of whatever the hell he's gonna do. However, there still are cameras in the hallways and all that, and that's where this footage comes from. For some reason, he's running down the hallway. You can see him chasing after Cassie. For some reason, somehow, the towel doesn't go anywhere. Good looks on you for that, Diddy. So you didn't want to see the Diddy dangle. She apparently had left the hotel and came back to apologize to him, and then was leaving again, I guess. And now he is to the point where he is being abusive and doing all this other stuff. It all just looks bad. You see what I'm saying? He's putting his hands on the lady, and I've seen different theories that were coming out. Like one weird theory that came out saying something about how she apparently was or had stolen some jewelry or some possessions of Diddy's, to which he was completely upset, and how dare you and all that stuff. And and that's the root cause of this violence that we're witnessing. I don't know, bruh. I don't know how you could. No. I mean, I get it if it's somebody you know and they stealing from you or whatever like that. Maybe. But if it's somebody I know and they stolen something from me, and I only say this because I have done it already, I would handle it a completely different way. And I'll just say that. I'll handle it a completely different way. So I just think if that's and especially considering how he's handled other things, take that how you want. But I'm just saying, when it comes to things like this, wouldn't be trying to, especially when I know I'm worth a certain amount and I have a certain amount of notoriety. I'm not trying to destroy that, because I know any little thing, at least I know any little thing can damage that. Now, at the time of this happening, the hotel was obviously open and, obviously all that. Now, unfortunately, this hotel is closed since P-Diddy paid $50,000 to receive or to hold on to the footage, this footage that we're all seeing right now. But apparently, it would seem that there's been some sort of, what do they call it, a statute of limitations that's been met, or that's been passed, to the point where I don't think there's any sort of ramifications that's going to happen as a result of this footage coming out. That's one thing I think I can say. And I also think because Diddy has already settled out of court with Cassie, that she can't charge him again. They can't have double jeopardy, I think, for a case in this matter. Potentially, I don't think so. So for something like this to be released right now, I think it's more about damaging whatever people's perception of him may still be if it was still intact following whatever happened with Cassie. And so to that end, I think that's why he recently came out with this apology that everybody's been seeing and remixing, and shout out to Amar Keys for what he did. If you haven't checked that out, I'll put a link to that but in the description. But I'm just saying it's just interesting what he came out with when he apologized.
Reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you got to do that. I was fucked up. I mean, I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy, and go into rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
Now, I just want to look at it from this perspective, right? What did he actually say, right? Who did Diddy apologize to in this? He just said, I apologize. But to who? Did he name anybody? I mean, obviously he said, we see who's in the footage. We see who's involved. We've seen from the case when it was initially put out, before there was any footage, when Cassie described it all, what exactly was going on. So we knew all of that already. We've got that information. But Diddy, I'm talking to you, Diddy, who are you apologizing to? You say you was messed up. You was at the bottom. You were at the bottom. Okay, you were at rock bottom. You was at rock bottom, but you was at the top floor of a hotel. So you wasn't at rock bottom. You know what I'm saying? You was at rock bottom, staying in a hotel in a town that you already live in. That don't sound like rock bottom to me. Maybe mentally. Maybe you were mentally at rock bottom. Maybe that's what mental rock bottom looks like. Because I've seen some people who were flat busted who didn't do stuff like that. So I don't know what your version, and for them that was rock bottom. So I don't know, Diddy, what your version of rock bottom is, but I just know that's not one with which many of us are familiar. I'll just say that. And so you see Diddy apologizing and saying that he's done all this work with all these unverifiable ass outlets like God, and he's done some counseling. Okay, so you talk to God. What did God say? Did God say anything back? No, and no offense to anybody who believes in any religion or anything like that. I'm not trying to say it like that. I'm saying it to the extent that, hey, did God speak to you about this directly? Did God speak back to you directly about this thing? Or was it a one-way conversation? You were just talking to the ether and then you felt better after that? Because if that's what happened, that didn't do shit for Cassie or Kim or any of the other victims. It didn't do shit for anybody. So who were you apologizing to? Was this just like, see, one thing we have to realize and notice or understand in this world of social media especially is that people do a lot of things for show. Sometimes they do things for sure, but a lot of times they do things for show. So sometimes it's for show, sometimes it's for show. You see what I'm saying? So y'all that get it, you get what I'm saying. But so I just think this is one of those things that's just for show, because I think now this is just my weird thinking, right? I think if Diddy was really sorry, if he was really apologetic, then he would apologize to the other unnamed victims that already came out and made statements against him following Cassie's. So I don't know. I don't get who he's who he's apologizing to or what this is other than just a show. I mean, why didn't you apologize to the other victims to try to get ahead of the storm that's definitely coming your way? I mean, as soon as Cassie's settlement popped up and hit the airways and the news stations and all that stuff, you saw that everybody was coming out the woodwork like, oh, me too, me too, me too, me too, me too. So if you know that's going to happen for that, what do you think is going to happen with this video? So again, for me, I just think that this is character destruction on a major scale character destruction, because I don't know what sort of legal retribution can be offered after there's already been a settlement. You see what I'm saying? So now it's just like, oh well, cool, I couldn't release this before because we was in court, and now the court's been settled and I'm not gonna release it, but hey, friend of a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, send that on to somebody until it's 17 degrees of separation from me, and that person is the one who releases it. You know what I'm saying? Or sends it to CNN. You see what I'm saying? So something like that taking place, I could see happening just for the sake of saying, hey, we still need to get this out because money just ain't enough. But to that end, I also wonder what's next on the horizon for him. Again, we've already had the SWAT teams coming through. We've already had the footage being released. We've already had the settlement happening. So, and then all the smaller stories coming out of the woodwork. We've had his bodyguard saying things. We've heard about what happened with Meek Mill. No Diddy. We've heard all kinds of things. What else is to take place? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. But what are your thoughts of what is to take place next in the Diddy saga? You know what I'm saying? And also, what is this a distraction from? We've seen the whole thing with Epstein, and because I at this point, it's almost looking like Diddy is the black Epstein. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's kind of only difference is he didn't have an island. So, but it seems like, I mean, they both had footage, and Epstein, we know what happened to Epstein eventually. So is that a prelude to Diddy's fate, eventual fate? You know what I'm saying? So what is that? Where do we think this train is going? That's really what I'm trying to ask. And what do you think this may be a distraction from at the same time? I don't know. I just wonder, like, is there any validity to what your boy Cat Williams was saying about 2024 being the year that truth will be revealed? like is that what he is it happening? Did Cat Williams sprinkle some sprinkles of magic on the year, and all of a sudden everybody got the truth serum popping out of them? Like, what's happening right now that's what's going on? Lastly, if what Cat Williams said is true, what truths are you afraid of getting out? Want to get ahead of them now? Go ahead and leave a comment if you're up for it. But that's a wrap for today's episode. Don't forget to cruise by the merch shop at theblackmanshow.com for some exclusive gear. You can also catch me on all social platforms at Show the Black Man, or join the conversation in our Facebook group or page, both named The Black Man Show. Now, if you dig this episode, or if you dug it, do your boy a solid with the HBO special. That's right. Help your brother out by smashing that like button, subscribing, and spreading this word and sharing this with your friends. Now, if you want to drop me a line directly, you can shoot me an email at tbs@theblackmanshow.com. Remember, we are all we got here, so look after everybody. Look after the people you care about and the ones you don't care about, because none of us are going to get out of here alive. Until next time, peace, and I'm out.